2000 Chevy S10 with a 2.2 liter, is a 5-speed manual. But I can't find hardly any videos on, kind of tearing into these things a little bit. But what I'm noticing with mine, sorry for the poor quality, and that's going to be the theme here. I'm not really one of those guys that does this, but no videos. I'm gonna try and make a video editor tool where I can loop some videos together to show you how to kind of take apart top end stuff here, like the airbox and stuff. What I got going on is my whole engine is just sludged, and it looks like it's probably the valve cover. Probably its whole life it's been leaking from the valve cover. I got some vacuum stuff because I noticed there's this line that comes off the throttle body over to here, and this line is literally just falling apart. And I was getting sucking out of here, and I have this weird thing where it seems like the truck's kind of in warm-up mode, which means it's got a high idle to it. When I'm shifting gears, it's like, whoo, into the next gear, whoo. The engine just kind of has that rev up, warm up kind of feel to it as you're shifting through the gears. And I'm thinking maybe vacuum leak or IAC valve, which here's the throttle body. I'm not really sure which one's the IAC valve. I believe that's a throttle position sensor. You've come around on this side, there's another sensor with a plug on it. It's got tiny little Allen key hexes. That may be it. I'm gonna pull it out anyway and take a look, but first I want to get off this tube there. There's a clamp there, and I want to try and get this airbox off, possibly the throttle body, so I can maybe take a look at the valve cover. I don't have a valve cover for it, but I've got a big tube of gasket maker, so that I'll decide once I get down there. I was kind of like noticing, look at this intake right here. Let's see if I can hold the phone steady enough, but look. It's hard to really see, but this intake feels like it's I don't know, loose. I don't know, probably not. But then I was noticing, I just picked this truck up, no AC, but if you'll look way back there, there's no exhaust manifold bolt up there on the top, and it also holds, let me zoom back out, it also holds the dipstick tube bracket. But anyway, yeah, there's one on the bottom on the last there. You can kind of see it better now. See all those studs coming out of the other one? No bolt. See if I can find a bolt just to throw in. So yeah, I pick up cars and try and get them cheap, and then if there's anything wrong, I try and fix it and get it back to mechanically good condition, and maybe make a profit in the end. Anyway, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna find a socket. It's got flathead heads on it, but let me tell you, if you got an impact and you find the right size socket for these, then it makes things a lot easier. There is a sensor right here, and I know what it is, but I'm spacing on the name at the moment. But probably unplug this, which just lifts up like this. I can get it right here with my hands and then kind of just rock it off and pop that off. I'm gonna get my socket. I'm gonna loosen that band clamp. There's another band clamp right here. Loosen that. There's some rubber pin bushing things that kind of hold it to the shroud here. Pry those out. And then I'm going to see if I can work this air box off first, and that's how you do it. So loosen that, pull these, loosen that up, unplug this, pull the air box. I'll let you go and get back to it once I got that off. And here we are. I was able to get that off, no problem. So with these, it's got that little pin, and how you get those out, sorry, I'm trying to do too many things, is you got to pull that center pin out and kind of maybe work a pair of needle nose underneath it, pull that pin out, and then that's how those come off. So next, what I'm going to do, 8mm for those, 5/16, this is a Chevy. We're going to try and get this off, and I haven't really looked around back to see if there's anything connected to it yet. Doesn't really look like it. Looks like you just have to kind of work around this hose a little bit, maybe pull that up. It looks like it's kind of disconnected from everything else. But do notice that there is more of those, hard to see, bad lighting here. But right here, there is more of those pin bushing rubber plastic guys. There's one holding it down there. You'll probably notice. And then, once again, there's a clamp around the throttle body here. I'm going to undo that, pull the box, and if I run into anything funky, I'll make sure to let you know about it. Got the air box off, and a funky thing here is going to be, there is a hose, so it sits on there like that. If you reach around the back, you'll see a, I believe, PCV hose that connects right there. I loosened the band clamp, popped the hose. This thing literally just worked out. Mine didn't have that pin in, so that's why. But if yours has a pin in, you'll have to pull that and, just kind of work it out. So yeah, if you'll notice, that is crapolid PCV. It's all wet with oil. Cool. And closer here, look how sludged up this valve cover is. Now that the valve cover's off, I don't know, or not the valve cover, excuse me, that air box is off, and I see all that oil caked on the top of it. I don't know if that's the culprit, is the gasket on it. I could be wrong. It could just, kind of fumigate and build up on top of the valve cover there. But yeah, anyway, next would be getting to this throttle body, which I notice is held on by 4 bolts. But there's some stuff you gotta unplug. Throttle position sensor right here. Unplug that same way you did the other one. There's a hose clamp on this hose, and that comes up. That's your vacuum booster line. You've got this guy, which I don't know what that goes to, but it seems fairly stable. Oh, sorry. It feels fairly stable, like it's not gonna crack. But this one is split. This one's split bad, and I'm gonna have to work that off. It's got a boot on it. There's one there, vacuum line. What I think could possibly be the idle air control valve here gets unplugged, and Then 4 bolts, 1, 2, 3 down here, and the 4th. Same thing on the other side, right there. So handful of things to remember where they go back, but it's fairly straightforward. Just take a quick glance. If you want, take a picture. I'm gonna get this unplugged. I'm gonna get those taken off, that unplugged, get these bolts out of here, and I'm gonna remove this throttle body. Oh, also, come around back, cable throttle body, operate on this little cam here with a cable, and sorry, I grabbed the cable, work it up and over the, I might have to get a flashlight in here, but there's usually a way you can pick up the cable like this with your fingers, kind of work it, and then it'll slide out of a slot on the side. So that's a lot of times how those go, so I'll have to unhook that as well. But I need to get a flashlight. This lighting in here sucks. But yeah, there's a cable on the back there that needs to come off, and then I'm gonna pull the throttle body. See you soon. All right, what a mess. I got it off. So the way it sits on there is actually like this. 4 bolts, 2 long ones go in the top, 2 short ones go kind of underneath, and it goes into there. Unplug all your vacuum lines, what I believe is the IAC valve, and then you have this cable that loops over here, it's tucked in there, goes all the way under here, and normally you would just unwrap it and pull it out the bottom and it would come right out. No, not this one. This one is held in, the little ball at the end of the cable is held in by this plastic tab. Let's see if that'll stay there. Okay. And what you have to do is give the cable some slack, and I use this pick. It's got some RGB on it, and I got in here like this and lifted up this tab without breaking it, and was able to pop that ball out. And actually I took the bolts out, ended up, because I couldn't see what the hell was going on back here, why it wouldn't come out. So I ended up taking the bolts out, separating the throttle body, pulling it away so to where I could look and see what was going on with that. So yeah, that's off. If I was, this bracket comes right off of there too, because one of the bolts holds it on there, and yeah, so I'm not even sure really which bolt it was. It almost looks like, you know, could have possibly came off of this one. Sorry, came off of that one, but I didn't notice that when I was taking the bolts out of it. So I'll just have to hold it up there, line it up, and see which bolt it falls back into when it goes back together. I'm noticing it's got a gasket, which I don't have. I'm gonna take a look at that. And I'm kind of shade tree. If I feel like something's not, like that gasket's kind of iffy, then what I'll sometimes do, being who I am, is I'll take it out, I'll clean it really good, put it back in there. But I'm not afraid of taking a little bit of black silicone and just putting this thinnest little stream around when it goes back together, because I don't like leaky shit. But we'll see how that goes. Here's all your vacuum lines and your sensors that got unplugged. If I was to get to this valve cover, what would have to come off? Well, This hose is already off. It looks like I can get around this pipe here if I had to, but the spark plug are held down, so you'd have to unplug the spark plugs. I don't know if I'm going to do the valve cover. I don't know if I really care that much that the engine's sludged over right now. I think I'm just going to fix that vacuum leak I had over there, take a look and clean this throttle body, plug her all back in, and be on my way, hopefully. But man, it's oily. It's oily. Anyway, BRB, I'm gonna pull that IEC out of there and see what it actually is. Okay, so once again, very poor video quality by me. I don't do this it's not a thing for me. But I just noticed that on YouTube there's literally no videos, even people doing what I've done so far, just pulling the throttle body off and taking a look, you know. So I thought maybe I could help give some people some confidence. You know, if you were gonna get to your valve cover, all you'd have to do is take off this bracket, unplug your spark plugs. That way those could, right here, those wires could come over. This thing is already free because it's the bracket for your throttle cable. And then heading towards the back, you've got some bolts holding this pipe, which you could just take off and move over. You've got a electrical connector here. You'll unplug that. You'll kind of move some hoses around. And then, yeah, start unloosening the valve cover bolts and work it out of there. I'm not gonna do it, I decided. So, anyway, throttle body's off. It sits on there like this. And yes, that is the IEC valve. You know what it does is it lets more air during startup. You can see through right there. It pokes down into there, and during startup, I believe it's closed, and it will expand out to kind of fill that gap to kind of plug that. I don't know if I'm wrong. All of a sudden I'm second guessing myself. And then once it warms up, that's supposed to kind of retract and allow for more air. But it looks like, yep, so you can see through right there, that's where the air would come through. I already cleaned mine off. It was pretty cruddy. Had a nice little oil cake to it. I wiped it off. But in all reality, if you want to test if this is bad, when this is all back together and this is plugged in, you start the car, run the car, and then go ahead and unplug the IAC. If you unplug the IAC valve and there's no change while it's running, then you know that this isn't working properly, because you should, this should have an effect on the RPMs once it's working. So now I'm just gonna wipe out this throttle body really good, throw it back up there, put it all back together, and fix my vacuum leak that I'd found. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Repeat the process backwards, throttle back together, probably replace that gasket, but I'm not. Whatever. See ya. One more thing. Started cleaning this up with some seafoam, super oily. A little bit more cleaning I can do, but I pulled a lot of oil out of the throttle body. Clean that out where the IAC valve will seat down in there. When it, you know, pushes out, it seats there. You want that to kind of be good for it to seat too. But what I noticed was this gasket that goes on there. You know, it goes on there over the top this way, and you'll see those lips, which then goes on like that. Goes on like that. But mine was so oil caked underneath, like this inner ring. You can see how wet with oil it is where it fits over it. I think it could have been leaking there. So I'm gonna clean that up really good too. Make sure that that gets a good seal for that band clamp to go over. Yep. See you later. And yeah, just you're gonna have to wrestle that cable back on into place first probably, and then kind of line things back up and bolt it back on. Clean that gasket up too. See you later.